JB, it is time for history to be made here on In the Huddle. It is the moment we've been waiting for all week. You know what it is?
Our first ever Skype video interview with a player of the week, basically.
And I can't think of a better idea than to have the guy who broke your heart in the process yesterday.
Thanks.
Brockport had quite a game, as we know. 600-plus yards of offense, 415 of which belonged to this player. Would you like to do the rest of the intro, my friend?
Yeah, sure. From SUNY Brockport, starting sophomore quarterback, Joe Germinerio. Welcome to In the Huddle. How are you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be the first member of this interview.
Yeah.
We're sorry for the technical difficulties that we are sure to experience during this. However, you've already been through some of them with us, so we appreciate your patience. Patience was a virtue yesterday for your team. You looked like you were going to take a 21-0 lead early on, and a scoop and score turned things around from the 1-yard line. Let's start at the beginning of that game. You went into it after seeing what happened last year with Hobart really kind of taking it to Brockport. Not taking it to, it was a good game, obviously. I think within one possession, but ultimately winning. Was there kind of a revenge mentality on your guys' mind coming into this?
I mean, he made it a thing all week saying how they were ranked. They were the 14th team in the country. We wanted to come out and show people who we were. We felt last year we let the game slip out of our hands. We were up in the fourth quarter by a touchdown, and we felt we controlled the whole game. So this year, what we wanted to do was just control what we could control, and we felt physically just we were gonna, if we did our thing and we did what we needed to do, we would be okay. And that's really what happened yesterday.
Definitely, and I think a lot of what happened yesterday was a big part of some of these guys you may recognize. Barrientos, Torres, Grennan, Verdilis, and Mark Sanchez, your center. That offensive line did a pretty awesome job yesterday. I mean, I know that you're on a student budget, but hopefully you bought those guys some pizza or something when you got back to the dorms.
Yeah, no, it's always nice having all five linemen come back. And what the game plan was running the ball this week, we kept it simple. We had stretch, counter, and inside zone. We wanted to keep it simple. We felt our guys up front were gonna handle the guys that they had, and our line was better than their front seven. And really, we controlled the line of scrimmage, and that really was the difference in the game.
Big shoes to fill with the graduation of Dan Andrews. He was an all-region, all-American caliber running back. But this guy, Justin Morrison, who transferred in from Division II Gannon University, I mean, he looked basically like Dan Andrews 2.0 yesterday. He almost had as many yards. That one long touchdown run. So, I mean, it seems like just plug and play 2.0. Tell us a little bit about Justin.
Well, Justin's a very good friend of mine. He's a great kid, and he's an incredible worker, and we're happy to have him on our team. We felt going in, we were confident, and we felt even with the departure of Dan, obviously it's hurt. He was our leading rusher all time here in Brockport. So Justin had some big shoes to fill, and we felt he did a good job. We felt all our guys did. Christian Allister, who stepped in and gave us a couple of carries, and obviously Justin with those 2 touchdown runs. I mean, he came in and he did what he needed to do, which was good.
When the scoop and score occurred, what was going through your mind there? Because obviously that thing had the capabilities of really turning that game around. It really did in a lot of respects, because Hobart was, instead of being down 3 possessions, suddenly down only 1 possession, and kind of stayed that way for most of the game until the fourth quarter. So what was going through your mind? What was being said?
Well, after which I couldn't even catch the guy. I don't even know how that even happened, how they ran it the other way. I was just telling the offensive line and the guys that we just needed to just let that go. It's behind us, and we just needed to put together a drive. I think the ensuing drive we actually punted, which wasn't what you wanted. But it was tough to see us only up 4 points at the half. We felt like we controlled the whole first half. We just had to come out in the second half and just have the right mindset and just know that we felt they couldn't stop us. We could only stop us with turnovers, silly penalties, holding calls. We just needed to go out there and just do what we had to do in the second half. So we were confident. It obviously hurt seeing that. We would have took a commanding lead, but we dealt with a lot of adversity, and I thought we overcame a lot in that game.
You are in the
Ken,
huddle,
you're in the huddle
with Joe
with
Germinerio, the sophomore quarterback of Brockport State, who speaks much like a senior or graduate student. This is a very good first video interview we've had already here in the first few minutes. James, let's not screw it up here on our parts. But I'd like to ask a little bit about your history, how you got to Brockport in the first place. What is your backstory? I know you come from Wine-and-Skill, New York, which is down a road a piece from where I am right now, which is Ballston Spa for the holiday weekend right now. So kind of give us the lay of the land. Why not RPI or something like that?
Well, I actually started off at I redshirted at the University at Albany, and it was a funny story. I was supposed to coming out of high school. Not a lot of people wanted me as a QB. I was more looked at as a safety, and I don't know if it was just senior year. I don't know. I wouldn't say I had a rough year as a QB. It's just I was better off as a safety, and a lot of guys in that Empire 8 conference looking at like a Cortland, Utica, or Buff State. They weren't really looking at me quarterback wise, and Coach Mangoni actually called me coming out of high school, and he said I was going to play defense for the first year, then switch over to QB. But I decided to go a different road, going to the University at Albany. I played QB there. I redshirted, and I got a lot of experience there. Things didn't really go my way at Albany. They didn't really give me I wouldn't say it didn't give me a chance, but it just wasn't going my way. So last summer, I gave Coach Mangoni a call. I came on a visit, and here I am now in my second season, and I felt like I made the right decision. I couldn't be happier where I am. And obviously with the week 1 win against the number 14th ranked team in the country, we like where we're at. So.
Well, one of the big reasons for that win, Joe, it seemed like you guys were able to mix, both the run and the pass. And, you had Daquan Hubbard with a couple of long gains. Ortiz made some great catches. It was kind of coming into a week 1 game. I mean, you don't really have tape necessarily on the defense you're going to go up against. I mean, the system, some of the players, but it looked like you guys, actually aggressively went, after some of the Hobart defensive backs. Was that part of the coach's game plan, or is that just something that you guys saw as you were, finding you had success because of the offensive line was blocking so well?
Well, JoJo was, he led our team in catches last year, and he's been great for us all year. So we're going to look for him to get him going early in the pass game. And we feel like Daquan Hubbard with his speed, we think his top end speed is just as good as anyone else in Division III. So we didn't care who was out there at cornerback. We wanted to just test a couple go balls, and obviously by the game yesterday, it went our way a couple times. So we just think he has elite speed, and we just always want to give him a couple chances in the deep passing game.
Joe, again, Joe Germinerio is joining us here on In the Huddle, our first ever video guest, sophomore quarterback for Brockport State. Joe, what changed with Hobart from what you can tell? Because 600 yards, them giving that up defensively is something unheard of, honestly, as far as Division III football opponents for them goes. I don't even think Mount Union got that kind of yardage against them when they faced off against each other, or St. John's back when. So what do you think has changed in terms of the Hobart defense, or is it just the Brockport offense that changed here in terms of, turning this thing around to that degree? Because maybe the scoreboard doesn't even represent really what the reality of this game was.
Personally, I don't think anything changed really. I think Coach had a great game plan for us going in, and I think we just executed what we needed to do. Coach preaches to us all week in practice. He thinks there's a lot of talent. From starter all the way to the 3rd or 4th depth chart. He just thinks we're a very talented group of guys. And really, we just let our play take over. We didn't try to do too much, and we just tried to play our game as best as we could, and the stats showed for it. So we're very grateful with that.
Well, Joe, Hobart's started to become a pretty new and good rivalry, up there in central Western New York. This weekend, you're playing some kind of old rivals in Ithaca, new to the Liberty League, but the team that Brockport has played for years in the Empire 8. They lost a pretty close one, tough ground out fight with Alfred, who's another top 25 ranked team. I imagine you guys are still enjoying the win from Saturday, but tell us a little bit about what it means for Brockport to go up against Ithaca.
We know Ithaca's a great team, and they've been a great program for years. Ithaca's been prided on defense. So we know we're going to have to come in. Coach is going to give us a great game plan, and we're just going to try and execute as best as possible. what he will go over Monday is trying to minimize mistakes, holding penalties. And we know if we have that many turnovers going in, we won't be as lucky next time around. So we know when we get into the red zone, we need touchdowns, not field goals, and we're going to try and capitalize best as possible.
Joe, we appreciate your time, and we want to extend to you the same thing we would do with our audio calls all along in terms of the player guests we have, which is the shout-out portion of the program. And since a lot of people are going to be watching this compared to normal, get that list ready. The floor is yours for as long as you need. Shout-outs to your family, friends, teammates, etc.
The floor is, geez. I don't even know where to start. I just wanted to, all right. I guess I'll shout out my coach, Coach Mangoni, Coach Potter, all my offensive line. Should I go left to right tackle? I'll do that. Starting at left tackle, Jimmy Grennan. Left guard, Caleb Verdilis. Center, Mark Sanchez. Right guard, Justin Torres. And right tackle, Aiden Barrientos. I can't list the whole roster. My skill guys, I love you. Mom and Dad, I love you. And guys, I just want to thank you for having me be the first member of your interview. I appreciate it.
You know, the Italian in them had to go to Mom and Dad. I love it. I mean, that's
right.
all about family right here. Come on.
Yeah. That's great.
Gotta love it.
My siblings aren't going to be like John Reese, Alina. They're my two dogs. I love you too. I love you guys too.
Well, we appreciate you joining us. Next time you're in Wyandotte, come on by Event Fitness or whatever, wherever you work out. I will do the same, and we will compare notes because I've seen some of your teammates actually at the Clifton Park Event Fitness over the years, and on defense, some of the bigger boys on your team, and they've been talking about this philosophy. Brockport State really making waves and making some progress along the way. About a year and a half ago, I first heard about this kind of newfound approach, and it seems to be working. It wasn't an overnight sensation necessarily, but you guys are making waves, so congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you. I hope to be back, so that means we're doing something right if I get back on here, right?
That's right.
So, thank you.
Yes, it does. So, unless your names are Frank and James, that means a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Thanks,
funny.
Joe.
Absolutely. You guys take care. Thank you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Right. And James, we're going to go on to our next segment in just a bit. But folks, remember, you're watching In the Huddle.